Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are group 9 and in this video we will be presenting about Musnad Ahmad, one of the most important hadith collections. And in this video we will explain about the background of the author, about the Musnad itself and the criteria that is used during the compilation of this book of hadith. My name is Nurin Batusha Damia binti Salahuddin. My matric number is 2416504 and I will talk about the background of the author. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, or his full name is Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Hanbal Abu Abdullah al-Shaybani. He is a major figure in Islamic history. He was an Arab jurist, a leading scholar of hadith and the compiler of Musnad Ahmad, which is one of the largest of collections of the Prophet saying. And he also founded the Hanbali school of law, which is known for its strong traditional approach. Imam Ahmad was born in Baghdad in 780 and died in 855 at the age of 77. He spent nearly 40 years seeking knowledge starting from a very young age. He attended higher level study circles at the age of 14 and then began focusing on hadith at the age of 15. The reason he was interested in hadith is because he believed it was the most strongest and it was the most reliable and strongest source for argument in Islamic law and religion. He travelled widely across Iraq, Mecca, Medina, Yemen and Syria to learn from the greatest scholars during his time. One of his biggest challenges that he faced was the Mihna, when scholars were forced to accept Mu'tazilah beliefs. Mihna was a form of religious persecution instituted by the Abbasid government. Many were punished for refusing, but Imam Ahmad stood firm with his belief, and his courage in defending the faith earned him great respect and admiration from Muslims until today.
Okay, for the second part, we have notable students of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Okay, first we have Imam al-Bukhari, who was the compiler of Sahih Bukhari. And then second, we have Imam Muslim, who was the compiler of Sahih Muslim. And third, we have Imam Abu Dawud, who was the compiler of Sunan Abi Dawud, one of the 6 major collections, or in Arabic we call as Al-Kutub al-Sittah. And then the fourth we have Imam Ibn Huzaimah. Okay, Imam Ibn Huzaimah, according to research, he was known as Imam of Imams, and he also was a famous Shafi'i jurist. Okay, lastly, at the third part, I will explain about the works of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Okay, first we have Kitab al-Zuhd, where it contains the compilation of narration of Prophet Muhammad and his companions, emphasizing asceticism, piety and detachment to the worldly desire. And then we have Kitab al-Sunnah, which focus on Aqidah and serve as primary sources for the early Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And then third, we have Kitab al-Salah, which contains all narrations and rulings about Salah. And then the last one is Al-Musnad. Okay, Al-Musnad is the most famous collection of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, which contains nearly 30,000 of hadiths.
For the next part, I will present an overview of the Musnad Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, one of the most important works in Islamic hadith literature. First of all, the Musnad is known as one of the largest and most comprehensive collections of hadith in Sunni Islam. Scholars estimate that it contains nearly 27 1,000 narrations, make it one of the most extensive compilation even produced. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal compiled this work with a very clear purpose. He intended it to serve as a reliable legal references or hujjah in Islamic jurisprudence. In other words, the hadiths included in the Musnad were selected for their authenticity and strength, making them suitable to be used as evidence in deriving rulings in Sharia. What makes the Musnad different from many other hadith books is its unique method of arrangement. Instead of organizing the narration by topic such as prayer, fasting, marriage, or business, Imam Ahmad arranged the hadith according to the companions who narrate them. This means that all the hadiths narrated by one companion appear together in one chapter, followed by another companion in the next chapter, and so on, covering nearly 700 companions. This structure provides a very comprehensive view of each companion's contribution to preserving the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad SAW. But it also makes the book less convenient for quickly searching by theme or subject. Because of this challenge, later scholars undertook the task of reorganizing the Musnad into a format that is more easier for students, teachers, or jurists to reference. One of the most famous work is Al-Fath al-Rabbani li Tartib Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal, written by Al-Sa'di. In this work, he rearranged the entire Musnad into 7 sections, which include Tawhid and the fundamental of faith, fiqh and worship, social dealings and transactions, legal matters and rulings, personal and family issue, tafsir of the Quran, history, and eschatology. This thematic arrangement made the Musnad much more accessible, allowing scholars to easily locate hadiths related to specific topics without having to search chapter by chapter through the narrations of each companion. In conclusion, the Musnad of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal remains one of the most significant and influential hadith collection in the Muslim world, not only because of its authenticity, but also because of its unique structure and long-lasting impact in the Islamic scholarship.
We will now dive straight into the methodology of compiling Musnad Ahmad. I will be explaining the rigorous process behind its compilation, following 6 key stages. First, let's establish the sheer scale of Musnad Ahmad. Musnad Ahmad is a pinnacle achievement of Imam Ahmad's life, requiring a lifetime of effort, and the volume itself is immense. Imam Ahmad accessed reports from over 700 hadith collections, and this resulted in the final work containing over 27,000 ahadith, such as the documented by Shaykh Shuaib al-Arnaut. And these narrations documented the reports of over 904 companions. Secondly, the compilation was rigorous due to Imam Ahmad's strict selection policy. He enforced the inclusion of only strong and trustworthy hadiths, while any doubtful or weak narrations were immediately excluded. This strict methodology ensures the Musnad as a primary academic reference point. To achieve this, he dedicated decades to study and extensive travel across key regions, including cities like Kufa and other Iraqi cities. Thirdly, Imam Ahmad's inclusion criteria were both broad in scope, but also extremely cautious in quality. The chain of transmission, or isnad, was his primary organizational and qualitative feature. He believed that the quality of the isnad was more important than the content in itself. To create a comprehensive reference, he ensured that every trustworthy chain he knew was included. For example, if a single hadith had 2 acceptable chains from the same companion, both entries were kept. And this gives us an exhaustive view of traditions for every companion, Although the book did not gain a place among the popular 6 books known as Kutub al-Sita, its wide coverage and high level of trust makes it a valuable alternative source. Moving on to point 4 and 5, we examine the unique structure of Musnad Ahmad. The Musnad uses a companion-based organization. Imam Ahmad did not organize the stories by subject matter, making it a non-thematic collection. Instead, all reports are grouped under the companion who transmitted them. Within this structure, he applied predetermined hierarchy to the companions. The sequence begins with those deemed most authoritative, such as the 10 companions promised paradise. It starts with the 4 rightly guided Khalifa, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar bin al-Khattab, Usman bin Affan, and Ali bin Abi Talib. And the sequence continues based on factors like early acceptance of Islam and nobility of lineage. Finally, we look at the finalization and transmission of Musnad Ahmad. Imam Ahmad likely never wrote a final authoritative copy himself. The Musnad was primarily dictated to his son, Abdullah ibn Ahmad, and it was also his son and his students who assembled and transmitted the collection. And this assembled Musnad includes supplemental narrations known as Zawaid that was also incorporated by his son Abdullah. Later, due to the difficulty of using the non-thematic structure, Abdul Ar-Rahman al-Banna al-Sabti undertook the major effort of rearranging the Musnad into 7 accessible thematic sections known as Al-Fath al-Rabbani to improve its modern utility to current generation. I will now pass to the next presenter.
Imam Ahmad's Musnad is one of the most important hadith collection. What makes it unique is the method he used when selecting and organizing narrations. His criteria shows a balance between strict authenticity and the desire to preserve as much of Prophet's teaching as possible. One of the key principles was the reliability of narrators. Imam Ahmad examined their accuracy, memory, and integrity before including their reports. A strong example is the famous hadith, which is actions are judged by intentions, which he included through a fully reliable chain from Umar al-Khattab. This reflects his commitment to transmitting hadiths with trustworthy isnad whenever available. However, Imam Ahmad is also allowed slightly weak narrations if they meet certain conditions. They must not contradict the Quran or establish Sunnah. They cannot come from liars, and their meanings must be sound or supported by multiple chains. A good time, for example, is the hadith, whoever washes the corpse should perform ghusl. This narration appears in Musnad Ahmad even though some its chains are weak. Scholars such as Ibn Hibban graded it Sahih because of its many supporting roots. Imam Ahmad included it since it is not fabricated and its meaning is acceptable, showing his balanced approach of preserving beneficial narrations. Another major criterion he followed was rejecting narration from dishonest or deviant transmitters, even if the contents sounded good. This protected the Musnad from fabricated and politically influenced reports during the Abbasid era. Finally, Imam Ahmad arranged the Musnad according to the companion, grouping all the narrations from each companion together. This method preserves their contribution and helps scholars compare different narration easily. Overall, Imam Ahmad's criteria, which is strong narrator, reliability, selective acceptance of fake but meaningful narration, strict rejection of dishonest transmitters, and
Component-based arrangement are what make the Musnad a respected and foundational source in hadith studies. That's all.
I believe we have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Assalamu alaikum.